everybody to Squad League Podcast, where we talk everything about Africa's biggest five-a-side tournament. And of course, I'm not by myself. I'm with Arome, the head of football, and Nick, the man behind all of this. Now, it's been an interesting journey in this podcast. We've spoken to players, we've spoken to managers, we've had some of the pressure points that, the managers deal with, and teams alike. But in all of that being said, there is still a lot of excitement going into this tournament, not only for the prize money. Yes, it is a big motivating factor, but just the competition, the level of the competition. Did you anticipate this, guys? Because Government Tiki spoke about how now they're doing research about other teams, because it's not just, okay, this is how we play, we're going to go there and win. Now it's like, okay, how do these guys play? There's a research element to it. Paris Fives talked about their development and how structured they were. They seemed like the most organized team in the tournament. Yeah. And then you had Slim and Shane who are talking about the challenges of, the smaller teams where, they don't have the resources. Yeah. They don't have the money to kind of like bait in other players. They have to make do with what they've got. But in that there's still a lot of challenges. It's a lot to take in.
It is, but very, very interesting. Did we anticipate the best teams? I mean, you know how they say, build it and they will come?
Of course.
We just had to build the right platform.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that the right teams have come forth. You know what I mean? And I think already I can see in the Instagram DMs, our social media person has just been telling us, like, there's a lot of other teams that are already saying, like, send us the link, we want to enter. I'm like, where have you guys been? Like, we've ran seven qualifiers. Do you know what I mean?
I had people call me and say, Alemi, you can put us in.
Now.
It's like, I can't do that. What do you think this is, man?
And everybody has earned their spots. So, it's on merit, So nobody can come and say, but how did these guys qualify? Or how did these guys make it, et cetera, et cetera. So, man, I'm just looking forward to the competition. And that Group A,
yeah, that one's
that
looking...
Group A.
That and Group D, I think, is quite some solid groups, right?
Yeah, listen, man, there's tough. We're highlighting Group A, but there's all the groups are
100%.
All the teams are good.
Yeah.
That's why they're here.
I think if anything, one thing we saw with qualifiers is that you can't write anybody off.
True.
Exactly.
Yeah, because with qualifiers, there's some instances where we're like, these guys, they're not going to make it. Mm-hmm. They make it all the way to the semis and finals. Some even took it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you can't write anybody off. Tough times ahead in terms of the main event. But speaking of the main event, there are some, I don't know if teething issues are the word, because like it's not quite the word, because I mean, these guys have played fives before.
Yeah.
But when we did the qualifiers, there was always the question of rules. Like, what are the rules? We're not used to these rules. What are the rules going into the main event of Squad League?
I mean, first of all the players, all the teams that registered late or on the day, obviously you wouldn't get a rule book.
Of course.
But teams who came in, they saw the rule book, they were more clear with the rule book. But it's the standard rules that we've taken from all the qualifiers. They're uniform across board, and we'll still implement them.
Can you name a few? Just to reiterate.
I mean, obvious rules. It's a male team, so no females in the male team. That's an obvious one.
Good luck, taxing.
It's discriminating. We'll have the female version, but this is the male version.
Talia's gonna fight you.
Yeah.
Your 5 count, 5 foul rule.
Yeah.
Your no backing in rule. Your 3 seconds rule, whereby like use the ball within that time. So not to hold on to the ball too long. Those are the main ones, right? And then your keeper, you're off the wall rule, where you can hit the ball off the wall and keeper can pick it up once.
Just on that 3-second one, I think a lot of teams are enjoying it, because when it's time for them to, for instance, if they down a few goals, the other team can't just hoard the ball.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what we want. We want it to be fast paced. Because a lot of teams just want to slow down everything, and that's
because the no tackle from behind rule protects the player. So now, if he keeps holding the ball, then you basically can't
do anything. So the 5-second rule is there to stop winding down the clock unnecessarily.
100%.
Yes, I mean,
Okay.
just for context, Ronwen Williams he didn't get a card, but Sundowns got awarded. Well, the other team got awarded a corner kick because he held the ball for longer than 8 seconds.
Oh.
So FIFA is now implementing that rule with the
Is this
kick.
Club World Cup?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He
Okay.
held the ball for longer than 8, and then they got awarded a corner kick. So
Nice.
Wow. So now the teams are obviously getting familiar with these, but obviously we'll provide the teams
Yeah.
ahead of the main event with the full list of rules. There's always an uproar when it comes to referees. Now that we're talking about regulations and stuff, right? I did mention, I think it was in episode 2, episode 3, that as stricter as the rules are becoming for the teams, managers, players, these are also becoming a lot more stricter for referees as well, because that is the biggest part of the game. Do you think we're well prepared for that?
Yes. And I think it's because of the 7 qualifiers that we've done.
Yeah.
Right? So in our pursuit for doing the qualifiers, we've now managed to sort of scout the best referees.
Yeah.
Because that's what we were doing,
100%,
right? We were
100%,
scouting
yeah.
refs
Yeah,
and we're
yeah.
saying, yo, like this guy is super Guys, refereeing is not easy.
It is,
So
yeah.
first of all, the main thing that we brief the teams when they're qualifying is that let's be good sportsmen, right? Whatever happens on the field, leave it on the field. When you're outside, let's shake hands, let's be good. Let's build a positive community, right? That's essentially what Squad League stands for. So you have to give the ref some grace. It's a lot of mental focus that they have to do. There's a lot of pressure because of the amount of the cash prize that's at hand.
I was about to say, hey, you're saying,
know what I mean?
You're
Like-
saying it so smoothly, but these guys are thinking, hey, it's $500,000, bro. You know?
But think of how the biggest organizations, FIFA,
Yeah.
the ref does not have to worry that he's going to be followed back home.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he's trained. The guys are also very professional.
Yeah.
They know that the ball is round. One day they can win, the next day they can lose. It is what it is,
Yeah.
you know? It's their day, it's not their day. The biggest teams, guys, go through big L's. And it's for way bigger cash prize than we,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing about Squad League. Right now, it seems as though we're pushing the money aspect of it, but we just want the game to just become enlarged, right? We want people to take five-a-side seriously. Like that's the whole thing. So
Yeah.
Aroma will touch on the refs and stuff. We won't give their addresses just in case.
We won't even say who it is because,
Yeah.
Slim said in episode 3 that, they'll always find a way to kind of like, get their way. But that's what we're trying to avoid. Not even trying.
Yeah.
We've got measures in place
avoid,
to
yeah.
counteract that.
And maybe Aroma will ref the finals because so we don't
Aroma's
get any
very strict,
backlash.
by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, don't see him smiling here, He's strict, this guy. Yeah. So the
I don't
refs
like
are a big
nonsense.
part of the game, Aroma.
Yeah.
And I know you're very passionate about, fair refereeing
refereeing,
first and foremost.
Yeah.
But also the players need to come to task and respect the referee.
Yeah.
Because you're a big advocate of, fairness on the referees in as much as we want fairness on the players.
Yeah, 100%. Like Nick touched on, we've just having the qualifiers around and outside of Gauteng, we've identified good refs, good candidates who can actually come to the main event, who we will be using, and the players obviously have to understand that first of all, football is for everyone.
Yeah.
100%.
And you need to respect the refs.
100%.
Yeah.
So respect is number one. It's paramount.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
cannot.
it's a big word. They're
It's a-
paramount.
yeah,
Paramount.
it's-
Please highlight that, clip that in,
please,
clip that in.
We need it there at
You
the bottom
cannot
of the
attack
screen.
the ref. You cannot.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a player as well, and I can be in the ref's face.
Yeah.
This man is actually the worst with refs.
Really?
He's actually
So
very
he knows.
bad. He knows.
He
But
knows
at-
what to counteract.
Yeah.
At the same time, even as he says that, I will never put my hand on a ref. I
No,
will never
100%.
touch a ref.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
you can. If
Yeah.
you're allowed to talk, you're allowed
Yeah.
to let the ref know your feelings.
He gets close
But-
to kissing them, but it doesn't. Soccer players. Sorry, guys. He's defeated.
I'm so
I
defeated.
love how how you emphasize on the word paramount because, as Nick mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
it's not just about the cash prize.
Yeah.
Squad League has created something here that is long overdue for fives football in South Africa and Africa as a whole.
Yeah.
We've got a team coming from Namibia. We want to give them an experience where when they go back to Namibia and say, hey, look, next season we definitely have to be in, whether they come down to South Africa for qualifiers or we go out there, right?
100%.
And I love that you emphasize on the fact that it's not just about the cash prize. Yes, it's a big cash prize.
Yeah.
Yes, there are eyes that are wide saying, yo, $500,000 is going to change my
100%.
life.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we've seen the contrast of a team like Pirates and a team like Turf Boys.
Yeah.
Not to say one is better than the other, but in terms of resources, we've seen how big the gaps are in some of these teams.
Sure.
Right? And you want these teams to come into the space and have an equal experience. Whether you get knocked out from group stages
100%.
or you make it all the way to the finals or actually win the tournament, you want an experience that, you know, players and teams and everybody, even the audience themselves, can go back home and be like, you know what, that was an excellent experience.
Exactly. Listen, Lemmy, I just want to touch on that. Like, we've been talking about the 500K, 500K, 500K,
Yeah.
500K. But I think above that, because that money finishes, right?
100%.
It's not an everlasting
Especially
supply
with
of
bad
money,
management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? But the one thing that will stand is the memories.
100%.
You know, as a player and as someone who's like, I've traveled playing soccer, football, you know, to the fact that you can say, oh, listen, I played this team, I played that team, I played that team. That's bigger than money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the platform for these teams to come together, and it's basically, they can say they're the best teams in the country.
100%. Yeah.
You know, and the team that wins when the final whistle goes, the team that wins that game, before you say I won 500K, is I won the bragging rights,
Of course.
of being the best team
Of
in,
course.
in South Africa.
The money even falls away.
It's not about the money.
Yeah, because you look back and be like, in this tournament, I showed that I deserve to be
You know what
number
I mean?
one.
Yes.
Do you know what
the
I mean?
highest goal scorer,
Yeah.
the most assists, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I am the best, you know, and that's what it should. That's what should be at the front.
Yeah.
Not just the money.
And to add on to
good
that,
as
guys,
the money
you know, the qualifiers and just going around these different cities have just taught me, for one, that we're actually tackling, again, it's not about the money, guys. We're actually tackling so many social issues, right? There's the element of boys being on the streets, unemployed. Well, unemployment is another big one, right? The reason Shane is going through what he's going through with his team is because the team is seeing the opportunity of making it 30 grand, right? They're not seeing that they're backstabbing Shane.
Yeah.
They're seeing that I'm going to put more food on the table, right? So the social issues and social economic issues that we're actually tackling is bigger than, you know, and is the one thing that we want to elevate and make sure that eventually, to your point of, you know, the disparities between two teams, is that all teams become very highly resourced.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? And then all teams can play football with the love and the passion and just the flair and just the enjoyment of, damn, I enjoy football. I can play at the biggest level, you know? And then the other thing is a lot of guys can't make it to 11-a-side.
Yeah.
That's just a big fact.
Yeah.
Whether it's because of the fact that they don't have the connections or the fact that they make it to trials and then they don't make it overall, they've got something to fall back on.
So fives in a sense, especially having a tournament like Squad League, is sort of like a second bite at the cherry, where these guys can now, with something like Squad League then coming up. I mean, obviously the long-term goal for Squad League, as I understand it, is to, you know, become a professional league that guys can
100%.
rely on. And, you know, we'd love to see the other bigger teams also creating teams like Pirates, you know, but also not kind of like ostracizing the independent teams like a Turf Boys,
Yes.
like a FSF
Yes.
and all those other teams. But I want to touch on something going into the main event. Last season, season 1, 100,000 Rand up for grabs, straight knockouts. The format is different this year. Take
Big
us
time.
through that.
Big time. So, you know, back at the ranch, like we've just been going. You know, initially I will put it out there. Initially it was straight knockouts.
Yeah.
Right. Considering that some teams, first of all, are coming from far, and then just to elevate the level of playing, the drama, which is what I love.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
give the teams a chance to actually accumulate points.
Yeah.
So we decided to go with the group stages.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
The group stages and the schedules will be released, but the group stages take us from day 1 into day 2, and then we do quarterfinals and semifinals in that day 2.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Okay.
yeah, that gives a lot of teams the opportunity to say, okay, cool. The first game is always like a big warm-up. You know,
Of course.
We've seen it at the qualifiers
Of
where
course,
a
of
team
course.
would lose. Even Buccaneers, which is, you know, the other Pirates team, they lost their first game, and it almost felt as if, they fell flat and they're not going to come back from this.
Yeah.
But they made it to the finals,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Whether it was on goal difference or just points or whatever the case is, there have been times where a team has made. In fact, Soccer South Africa just here at XP,
Yeah.
they made it on goal difference, right? They
Damn.
just edged and they made it through.
Then
Skin
they
of the-
went
the fucking
to-
teeth.
Yeah.
They
you know
went
what I
to
mean?
win the qualifiers.
And they went
went-
on to
they
win
went
the
to win
whole
the
Yeah,
tournament.
qualifiers.
I mean, we see it in bigger tournaments as well. If I could reference the last World Cup, Argentina lost to Qatar in
There
their
you
first
go.
match.
Saudi
There
Arabia.
You know what I
Saudi,
mean?
yeah,
so
Saudi.
then
Where
they,
is Messi?
Yeah,
Where is
yeah,
Messi?
Saudi
Where
Arabia.
is Messi?
Then they go and win the World Cup.
And they win the World Cup.
So
yeah.
anything could happen.
Anything can happen.
So that's the thinking behind
That's the thinking
changing the
behind it.
format from straight
100%.
knockout to a group stage. I
Yeah.
mean, we like you're saying, we saw a lot of that drama in the group stages where teams might not have started strong,
Yeah.
but then go on to make it really
make-
far
to
into
win
the
it.
qualifiers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting times. So that in itself guarantees you that there's going to be a lot of drama, a lot of football.
Lots of it.
Not just for us, but I mean for the players themselves. At least they
Yeah,
get to
teams.
play quite a bit of football. You know, even if they don't make it out the group stage, they would have had that experience of being part of squad league.
I've got a question. Let
Yes,
me.
sir.
Sorry. I want to get guys. Listen. First of all, we're allowed to have opinions. Like we're allowed to have a team that we think would probably take it all the way.
Sure.
And I want to put this on this platform so that it's chilled vibes. We're allowed. There's no favoritism. First of all.
Yeah.
There's no whatever. We have opinions. Your top 2 teams. In fact, top 3.
Top
that
3
you think
teams.
will win season 2 of Squad League.
So either of these teams will be the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo. Let it start that
No.
side.
I mean, I asked the question. So it's either starting here or it's starting there and then coming back.
Okay, cool. I would say cream cheese and butter. Number 1. Number 2, I would say Avengers. Number
Damn.
3, Pirates.
Really? Okay.
Do you want to tell us why or just okay? Cool. Those are your
Cool, I
people.
can go. Why? I just think cream cheese and butter. I've seen them play. They're really good. They just look. They go under the radar.
I see.
There's a lot of
I
things
see.
that there's a noise made about them,
Yeah.
but they just go.
We
under
did. We
the
actually
radar.
didn't think cream cheese and butter would win those qualifiers.
Yeah.
Didn't.
Yeah.
And they just won a tournament last week. Also,
Yeah.
the same week of
It
our
was
tournament.
Lau
Yeah, yeah.
Foster's tournament. Actually.
Yeah, they won
yeah.
it as
Shout
well.
out. Shout out.
And they just don't make a lot of noise, but they just go under the radar.
Yeah.
Avengers, because I've heard so much about them. And I think there's no smoke without fire, so let's see what they're on about.
Yeah.
So the fact that they didn't win the qualifier doesn't like.
Apparently some of their players were injured. So
Okay.
now that everybody is here, let's see what they do. And then Paris, because they're defending champions, they can't do that bad.
Got
obviously.
you. Got you.
Sure. Okay.
top-
My top 3. If you had asked me at Marks Park, I would have said One Love.
Okay.
But I look back, I say, One Love. It was you know what? I think there was an element of luck.
What are you
there.
saying about Marks Park?
No, man. Like I feel like those qualifiers were a bit strange. You know.
Got you.
And in strange in the sense that I feel like the really good teams were too confident.
Sure.
They were overconfident because if you remember in the finals, we had 2 underdogs. We had One Love and the other team
This is Max Park.
at Marks Park.
Pace, yes,
And
Pace,
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 exactly. Those were 2 underdogs.
Yeah.
The really strong teams didn't make it to the
Yeah, they
finals.
got kicked out.
And I think solely because the really good teams were overconfident.
Got you.
But back to your question, I would say Government Diggy.
Okay.
I think they've got a really, really solid chance of winning because
And then SARS can come
they
from them
like
nicely.
they like
proper.
I think Government Tiki because they like a combination of talent and organization. They're like a cross between Pirates and I don't know, like a FSF, if I may, or a Turf Boys. You know what I
Okay.
mean? They've got the glut of not having all
Okay.
those resources, but they've got the smarts of a Pirates 5.
Being
So
organized.
I feel
Yes.
like they got a solid chance. I also think Free State All-Stars.
Wow, let me.
Free State All-Stars.
I never guessed that.
I'll tell you why.
The underdogs.
I'll tell you why. They were the best team in Bloom
Okay,
if Government Tiki wasn't there.
Yeah.
got you.
There were also
were-
5 teams in Bloom though.
understood, but remember they had a
Players.
lot of former players.
Okay.
And what killed them is the lack of playing together.
Yeah.
You know, but they were solid, dominated throughout the tournament, and got to the final. Just got a team that was better than them.
Government Tiki.
Pirates Fives, solely because I actually think Pirates Fives is gonna win. That's my first bet. I think they're gonna win this tournament again.
Yo, guys.
Because the level of preparation that goes
Yeah.
behind Pirates Fives is unmatched. Resources aside, you've seen how disciplined that team
I
is.
swear.
Yeah.
You know,
I
they
swear.
not, oh yeah, we're Pirates Fives, and
I
you know,
swear.
we're the level of discipline behind
And
that team.
they're humble, hey?
They're humble.
They're
That's the
actually
thing.
humble, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the thing. You know, they're well resourced.
Yeah.
They're well managed.
Yeah.
They're well disciplined and well skilled.
They stay hungry.
I don't think anybody can match. You know, nobody has that combination like Pirates Fives has.
Damn.
Yeah.
Good one.
Let's go,
Good
Nick.
one, good one. All right, guys. Thanks for joining episode 2.
yeah. Let's hear your
You know,
prediction.
it's been good. Okay. I haven't heard from Zwede in a long time,
Yeah.
and I hope he's cooking, right?
Oh, football flavor.
Yeah, football flavor is going to come back with a vengeance.
Yeah. Because
They
they
were-
know.
Yeah,
They
were,
know this tournament.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
were so close. As a wild card last season, last year, man, they showed up, right? And they made it to the finals, and I was like, damn, these guys could have taken it. And we all know, like, there were a few
Yeah.
referee calls with that. What was it? It hit the top bar. It
Oh,
went
yeah.
in or out. Whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, we don't have VAR, guys, so that's why I say
No, we're
take
gonna
it
do
easy
goal line
on-
technology.
eh,
No,
very
we'll make a
soon.
plan for goal line technology at
Very
least.
soon.
We might not have VAR, but we'll
Yeah.
try and make a plan.
I'm
for
on
goal line.
I'm on the fence about VAR for us, but
Yeah.
like, anyways.
No, I think let's don't do it.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
don't do it,
yeah,
don't do it,
like
yeah.
let's keep it just, you
I'm
know,
not a VAR fan,
yeah,
yeah.
organic. It's
Yeah.
nice when it works for you, but let's
When it
leave
doesn't,
let's leave
then
it.
yeah.
So football flavor.
Yeah.
I'm with you on government tiki.
Mm.
I think they just have that hunger, man. Like these boys are, you know, and like you said, they're organized, they're hungry. And then they're super skilled, man, and they understand fives. There's a way of playing fives.
They do. They play fives so well.
So well, you know, just
Yeah.
the tactics, and then I like the fact that they keep the flair in the game.
yeah.
They're still doing skills. They're still dribbling. I'm like, guys, can we please have more of this? Because you know, Pep messed up the game, so please let's not mess up fives. Let's
Yeah.
not mess up fives. We're
Yeah.
supposed to see the flair coming out, and then the last team will probably be the wild card.
Wow.
Sure.
Nick knows something we don't.
Yeah,
Hey,
clearly, hey?
He knows something
Don't even
we
know the
don't.
wild
We don't
card.
even
No,
know
to-
who the wild card is.
Card.
Okay, but wild card. I mean, in Nick's defense, the
Yeah.
wild card has a good reputation in squad league. Look at football flavor.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think wild cards come up with we are not even known. No one knows who we are. We don't know. They don't know how we play.
Yeah.
You couldn't watch videos of them.
Yeah.
And then they also just come with the hunger and they low key because everyone's like, oh, these are the wild cards. Because everybody looked at football flavor that day and it was just like,
Yeah, true,
You know, like,
true.
what are you
nobody
doing
considered,
here?
Nobody considered
Exactly.
football flavor. But
Exactly.
then when you then look at it in hindsight, you're like, wow, they're the guys that actually went the furthest.
exactly.
You know, so okay, interesting
So keen.
times. But look, we've talked a lot about the football.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about the tactics and, you know, the refereeing, the regulations. One thing we haven't spoken enough about
Yeah.
is everything else that's going to be happening at the main
Shout
event.
out.
I mean,
Shout
there's the entertainment, there's
Shout
going to be
out.
food stalls. Nick, walk us through what Squad League main event is actually going to look like.
Because there's so much happening in my head,
Yeah.
you guys get to see it live because, you know, everything that happens at Squad League just,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of stuff that I've been envisioning and thinking about. So think of, you know, the cheerleading squad.
Yeah.
Think of when you walk in, there's like a photo booth for you guys to take pictures at. There's going to be, just, you know, the bar is there for you guys to get, you know, some nice drinks. good food. I'm gonna say it's like hopefully we get Uber Eats to come through and like you can get your food delivered to your seat.
Oh, that'll be dope.
Which is really dope,
That'll be
right?
dope, yeah.
You can save so much time, so much energy, and catch all the games whilst your food comes to you. There's going to be Rari's performing, and then I can't mention the other performers yet. But Rari's going to be performing, who's
Yeah.
a dope DJ. Love her sounds. So yeah, there's going to be. There's a big.
You
there's
know
a
what?
big
I might just come out
performance.
of DJing retirement.
Hey!
I might
I
just
let
go
you
drop
go
the
on the
S-Way.
ones
Yeah,
that
nah,
choose.
you know what I mean?
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. So I love that because in as much as the Fives scene has a lot of passion, a lot of passionate players and managers, this is not only open to them. Like you as supporting a friend or just looking for a good
100%.
vibe or whatever it is, you will be well catered to, because I understand there's going to be like a beer garden as well.
Beer garden is
Yeah,
there,
yeah. So
you know what
we,
I mean?
we got everything covered in Squad League. So
Yeah.
if you're there for entertainment, you're there for the soccer, or just there for some nice looking men on the field,
Something.
bring your home girls.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
They might find their husbands on
You
the
might
pitch.
On the
find your
pitch,
husband in
exactly.
Squad League. You know what I mean? We're taken, by the way. Don't get any ideas. We're all taken. But come through to Squad League 18 to 20 July. Tux Arena at which hall?
Rembrandt Hall.
Remembrance
Remember
Hall.
Rembrandt.
Remembrance
right.
Hall. Eish, that's a big word. That's a big word.
Rembrandt.
And tickets are currently available, right?
Tickets on sale, man. And then another beautiful thing that we're bringing back, and I say back because we did it in season 1. It was on this pitch here. We've got pitch side seating, guys, which is our VIP package. Go and get yourself a nice, ticket there. Paparazzi's going to be on you, and then you just have the best view in the house, which is another element of soccer that we're bringing into the space.
Yeah, man, I love it because I remember season 1, the pitch side guys,
Bro.
they were borderline coaches. They were even giving instructions.
They were actually
I'm like, hey, these guys, you're having a little too much fun.
Yeah.
There, But we got everything jam-packed for you at Squad League. The dates again, 18 to 20 July 2025. Tickets are available at Ticket Pro, correct?
Let's go.
Tickets
Pro,
are
sir.
available at Ticket Pro. This is going to be happening in Tux Arena. Remembrance Hall. You see, I got
Rembrandt.
it first. Remembrance.
Remembrance.
You see, now I'm getting it wrong now.
One job.
Remembrance Hall is where it's going to be happening.
That's
The host
perfect.
team is also going to be participating
100%,
there. Arome is not a fan of having them with ladies there in there. But
Are you worried for them? Are you worried for them? What's your
Worried
chat?
for who?
for
the
the team
ladies.
that's going to have 2 ladies in there.
Are you worried about the
I
ladies?
mean, have you ever seen football with women and men play together?
Sure.
I mean,
Exactly.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, he's the referee here, so
and
we
he's the
can't say
team's
much.
manager. Sorry.
We can't say much, but from ourselves here at Squad League, from Nick,
Shout
from
out.
Arome, Hakeem, and everybody who's behind Squad League, there is a big team putting this together.
100%.
We welcome you and hope that you guys are going to be buying your tickets and joining us for the biggest five-a-side tournament in Africa, Squad League. R500,000 up for grabs. It's going to be one for the books. I need not say it again, but I will, because this is Africa's biggest five-a-side tournament.